Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratrije Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, the home of the heart, home of our heart ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math of Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, the exemplary refuge, the exemplary refuge for the sincere devotees, the fortunate devotees who've come to the current, the main current from Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami, through to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and to the present age to Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, and to Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. So we must really appreciate our connection, really appreciate the good fortune in this life, and we must make our life successful. And it is a long journey ahead, and Devashish Prabhu gave the title for today about a long journey. Please excuse. I should be able to find it. Sorry, David. Oh, is Devashish with us by now?
Yes.
You are? Okay, I don't have the screen in front of me because now I was looking. So please help me out. What's the
Our journey towards the infinite is a long journey. I think that was what it was.
Okay, you're also looking for it.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyhow, I also did put some selections actually there. Yes, our march towards the infinite is a long journey. So it's not that I neglected the title. Did do some homework happily, and in the meantime, as you just mentioned, I did get very absorbed in being in the Nath Mandir in Navadip with Srila Gurudev, singing. And on Nityananda's appearance day, and singing, flowing with kirtan. And Srileka Devidasi, she's here in Italy, and she apologized she could not come today because she's feeling sick. Oh dear, she's got some bug that's going around. But she sent a beautiful link, and in the Nat Mandir, we were hearing, in this Nat Mandir, in the temple room here, we were playing with Srila Gurudev's video, playing the link and hearing the kirtan and trying to follow the best as we could. And so we were very Navadip absorbed and Srila Gurudev absorbed. And really, when we can remember Gurudev, remember him, learn about him, know his then this will make our long march home, a long journey. It will make it very beautiful. Not only the destination, but the journey is beautiful if we behave ourselves properly from our mind, our faith, our everything that we do. Humility, tolerance, giving honor to others, not criticizing anyone, seeing the good qualities in the Vaishnavas. These big keys, these very important tips, guidances for our safe journey. Anyhow, Devashish Prabhu is with us. It's the London Zoom. And so I am now on the screen with all of the devotees. So many devotees are here already, and my obeisances to you all. And I'll pass over the microphone to Devashish Prabhu in London.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, this is actually something that the subject is something that I think about quite a lot. How, we have to be prepared to be in it for the long run. Not, that's one of the qualities mentioned in Upadeshamrita, is to be patient, and to be patient, and at the same time be confident that we will get the Lord's grace. So, patience is very necessary, because, as Srila Guru Maharaj says, it's not a journey to be finished in a few days or a few weeks, or even a few lifetimes. So whatever it takes, we have to at least make that inner resolve that whatever it does take, we are in it for the long run. And if the Lord can tolerate us and be merciful to us, then we have to stay. And that was, Srila Guru Maharaj's conclusion when he was rudely treated at the Bagh Bazar Gaudiya Mott on one of his visits. And initially he thought, oh, I shall not come here again. This is not how sadhus should behave, something like that. But then he said, it came in my mind about Shukadev, how much he was delayed to finish his studies in the kingdom of Janakraj. And he said that just kept repeating in my mind. And then I decided, okay, if there's nothing of any value or anything real here, then even if they put me on a throne and do puja to me, I won't stay. But if there is something valuable here, and I think there is, that even if they beat me with their shoes, I must stay. That was his resolve. So we need to have a similar resolve. We shouldn't be, what do they say? Fair weather friends or fair weather devotees. As long as everything's going according to my plan, or, suiting me, then I'll stick around. But as soon as the going gets a little tough, no, I have to go. And, can't tolerate it anymore. Once Guru Maharaj said, referring to one lady in London who would not share her room with any devotees, even when the temple was full and we had devotees visiting. He said, we have come for the absolute truth, but we can't tolerate sharing a room with someone for a few days. What is this? So we have to have some inner resolve that whatever it's going to take, that's what we're going to have to do, however long it is. We don't care. We don't, and nothing comes of any value. Nothing comes of any value quickly. Generally, it's something that we have to work towards. But anyway, I chose it's a chapter from Lord's Loving Search for the Lost Servant, where I took that quote from. It's a direct quote from there. And the chapter is called Beneath the Loving Eye of God by Guru Maharaj. And I'll, with your permission, I'll read that. And I think it's very appropriate. So this is Srila Guru Maharaj speaking. The Rig Veda mantra says, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suryo Diviva Chakshoratatam. The divine feet of our Holy Lord are like the sun above our heads. His holy feet are the vigilant eye of a guardian, hanging over our heads like the sun, and we are living beneath the glance of that vigilant eye. We are interested not in objective, but in subjective reality. We shall always try to live not in the objective, but in subjective reality. We should never think, under my feet I have firm ground to stand on. I am big, I shall stand erect. Rather, we should think, above my consciousness is super consciousness. The vigilant guardian's eye is always watching me. I am living under the glance of that eye. Our support comes not from below, but from above. He is our shelter. We are hanging from that substantial upper world wherein he resides. Our support is found there. We must always be conscious of that. This is a principal mantra in the Rig Veda. Before anyone approaches a new duty, he should think about his own position. We have been instructed by this verse from the Vedas to think in this way. You are under the vigilant eye of your guardian, and that great eye is as living as the sun. Its glance is just like that of the sun which is over your head. Like a light that can pierce through to see anything within you, his piercing glance is upon you. With this understanding of identity, we should approach our duty. We are never encouraged to think that we stand firmly here on solid earth, and that on the basis of a strong position, independent of his grace, we can carry out our dharma. Actually, in our subjective relationship with divinity, we are just like the rays of the sun. Where do the sun's rays stand? They stand on the sun. That is their source. In the same way, we should think that our stand is in the realm of divinity. We are so many particles of consciousness, and our stand, our motherland, is that conscious area. God consciousness means Krishna consciousness. We are consciousness, and we are meant for Krishna consciousness. That is our relationship. We should always be conscious of this fact. We are connected with Krishna consciousness. We are members of the Krishna conscious world, and we have come to wander in the foreign land of material consciousness, Mayic misconception, thinking that we are units of this material world, but it is not so. We are units of the conscious world, the Krishna conscious world, and somehow we have come within this material conception of existence, the world of matter. Matter is what we can exploit. The objective side of reality, and the subjective side is the element we should revere. Our relationship with the subjective is that of reverence and devotion to the higher entity, and not that of exploitation or enjoyment. Real enjoyment, divine enjoyment, comes from service, not from exploitation. We must understand all these basic principles. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj once remarked to me that although the engineers in New York have built so many skyscraper buildings that will stand for ages, they were never mindful of how long their own bodies would last. The buildings will stand for a long, long time, but those who live in those buildings have forgotten how long their bodies will stand. In this way, people are very busy on the objective side, but they are neglecting the subjective values. Their concern is with objects and not with who will use them. They think that no subjective cultivation is necessary for the user of the objective world. In this way, they give all importance to the objective side, neglecting totally the subjective side. Our real position is like the rays of the sun. A sun ray touches the earth. Where is its home? A sun ray comes to our plane and touches the hills and the water. But what should be considered as its home? Necessarily the sun, and not the earth it touches. Our position is similar. As rays of consciousness, we pertain not to the material world, but to the conscious world. Our home connection is there in the sun, the spiritual sun. We are advised by the Vedas to consider, although you have been cast in a hole of this earth, still your native soil is the conscious sun. You emanate from there, you are sustained from there, and your prospect is there. You have to conceive of reality in that way, because you are conscious. Your home is the source of consciousness. Whether you are a bird or a beast, whether you are in the mountain, earth, or water, wherever you are, whatever position you hold, your source is in consciousness, existence. your source in consciousness, just as the rays of light have their home in the sun. The Vedas tell us, you are not a child of this soil. You may be captive here, but this is not your home. This is a foreign land. All your hopes and prospects can be supplied from that higher soil, because your nature is of that order. Your food, your sustenance, your everything should be made of that higher stuff. But what is found within this material world is all poison to you. Again, although what is pertaining to consciousness is the immediate, nearest realization of our nature, if we are to go deeper into the conscious world, we shall find something more substantial. If we cross beyond the vision of light consciousness, we shall find the real necessity of our existence, happiness, ecstasy, and divine love. After establishing ourselves in the realm of consciousness, we must establish ourselves in the realm of divine love, ecstasy, and beauty. We must search for our fortune there, and never in this material world. Ecstasy is above light. Transcendental mellow is above consciousness. Beauty and charm are above mere consciousness and understanding. Feeling is not complete in itself. Feeling must be for something. So the fullest conception of a perfect thing is something which is full in beauty or ecstasy. Mere existence or consciousness alone cannot be the highest perfection. Ecstasy is the most perfect thing. Ecstasy, divine love, and beauty presuppose consciousness and existence. Spiritual reality is composed of three substances: Sat, existence; Chit, consciousness; and Ananda, ecstasy. And of these three, Ananda or ecstasy is the final conception of spiritual substance. Ecstasy can exist by itself. Neither existence nor consciousness is complete in themselves. Consciousness alone hankers for ecstasy. And existence without consciousness is to exist with no purpose. But when existence is endowed with consciousness, it can search for its own good, ecstasy. Ecstasy is an independent and concrete substance. Both existence and consciousness are subservient to ecstasy. And one who realizes the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness becomes free from this mortal world. When one realizes that, he need not be afraid of anything. He need have no apprehension from any fear that can arise here in this material world, where there is the constant threat of non-existence. Here in the material world, we not only have no fulfillment, but our very existence is also at stake. At any moment, we may be devoured by non-existence. But to come to the plane of ecstasy, we shall have to dive deep into reality. We must not be satisfied with the formal, the superficial. If we concentrate our attention on the outward form of a thing, neglecting its inner substance, then we shall find that we are looking in the wrong place. When Mahaprabhu would look at the deity of Jagannath Dev, apparently it seems that his aim was fixed on the same thing that we see when we look at the deity. To our vision, however, the deity of Jagannath is only a doll made of wood. And yet, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would fix his eye there, he would shed tears of joy, and his tears flowed in an incessant current. Where is his vision of reality connected? What we see as a wooden doll, he sees in a completely different way. And just by looking at that, an incessant current of tears pours from his eyes. Where is his connection with reality located? He is viewing things from the opposite side, from the subjective world. So how should we approach the deity? When we have a look at the deity, what should be our attitude? The deity form of the Lord is not a mundane thing, and so we should learn the proper way in which to see the deity. And more than this, we must try to look at this from the other point of view. As we are trying to see the deity, he sees us. He has come down to help the fallen souls in this material world, and he has come down in such a way as to take us up to his domain. Ramanuja has classified the experience of the Supreme Entity in 5 forms: para, vyuha, vaibhava, antarjami, and archa. Para, the central conception of the highest entity. Vyuha, his extended self in different functions, in different figures. Vaibhav, his appearance in this mundane plane as avatars like Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha. Antarjami, his presence in every heart and every soul, every conscious unit. And Archa, his appearance in the plane of our physical perception as the deity. In his form as the deity, I can touch him, I can see him, and I can serve him. In a concrete form, he has come to help our understanding. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at the deity, and his eyes were flooded with tears. It is not that his eyes were fixed upon the superficial characteristics of wood when he saw the deity form of Lord Jagannath, but he was connected on a vastly higher level with Krishna consciousness. His thoughts were deep with Krishna consciousness. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought, Lord Jagannath has come here and is making arrangements to deliver millions of fallen souls, especially by extending his own prasadam to one and all in great magnitude. His magnanimous presence has manifested here for the relief of this world. And Krishna consciousness is the highest relief work. Our Guru Maharaj used to say, there is a famine of Krishna Katha. There is a famine at present, but is the world suffering from a lack of food? No. The world is suffering from the famine of Krishna consciousness. Krishna talk, Krishna kirtan. So we must try to open offices of food distribution so that we may distribute the food of Krishna consciousness to all souls. Mahaprabhu said, whoever you come across, talk of Krishna. Jare deka tare kaha Krishna upadesh. Give them the food of Krishna consciousness, Krishna katha. The world is filled with famine-stricken people. We must distribute food, give the life and breadth of Krishna consciousness to whomever we meet by speaking about Krishna. That was the feeling of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj carried that out in the West. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta used to say, I do not admit any other conception of famine. The only famine is that of Krishna Katha, Krishna Smriti, Krishna consciousness. With such seriousness, he conceived of our necessity for Krishna consciousness. Krishna is of vital importance to our existence. Only Krishna can give us vitality. And as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, distributes Krishna consciousness. Vasudev Ghosh says, therefore, Sri Gauranga is my life and soul, my only vitality. If Gauranga had not come, how could I live? Jadi Gora Nahata Tabe, Ki Haita Kemana Daritam De. By his grace, I have tasted such valuable food that without this, my life would be completely impossible. Krishna consciousness is the vitality of vitality. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada did his best to give Krishna consciousness to the people of India, and Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj distributed that vitality all over the world. It is by their grace and by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself that so many have come to Krishna consciousness. Haridas Thakur once told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by your chanting of the holy name of Krishna, both the animate and inanimate world have been supplied with the food of Krishna consciousness. Whatever position they may occupy, their life is fulfilled. I heard of how when you traveled through the jungle and chanted and danced, the elephants and tigers also danced and chanted the holy name of Krishna. What wonder, then, should there be if I say that the stones and trees have also attained their highest end, Krishna consciousness, when you are chanting? What an intense degree of Krishna consciousness has been produced here by your chanting. But in order to chant the holy name of Krishna, something is required from our side also. Amanina manadena kirtaniya shadahari. We should resort to kirtan always, but our attitude should be, as Mahaprabhu recommended, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi suhishnuna, amanina manadena. Our attitude should be one of humility, and if we think that we are being done wrong, still we should be patient, and under no circumstances should we work for our own position and prestige. That should not be our aim. When the lower stands against the higher, offense arises. That tendency should be shunned. Primary education is also education, but that should not compete with higher education. We must be careful about that. At the same time, the differentiation between higher education and lower education must be genuine. Still, primary education must not be thought of as the higher education or the highest education. That will be dangerous. There is a saying in Bengali, Alpa Vidya Bayan Kori. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. We must be careful about that. Otherwise, our attitude will be suicidal. The question of offense arises whenever primary education stands against higher education. That sort of assertion is offensive. Slow and steady wins the race. Our march towards the infinite is a long journey, not a journey to be finished within a few hours, a few days, or a few years. And we have to adjust accordingly. It is not that we shall run quickly to make progress and then stop and sleep. It is a long way we shall have to go. We will only be successful if we develop humility. Trinadapi sunichena. We should not create any circumstance that invites resistance. Still, if any resistance unexpectedly approaches us, we should try our best to forbear. And we must always be conscious that our guardian's eye is always over us, eager to help us in our campaign. We are not alone. We may go on confidently. There is a person above us to redress the wrong that may be shown to us, so we should not take the initiative. We must not allow any ulterior purpose or temptation to induce us to give up our search for Krishna. Let the satisfaction of Guru, Gauranga, Krishna, and the Vaishnavas be our only objective. Let no other element enter upon our path. Our purity of purpose must always be very scrupulously maintained. We should think, alone I shall go on with my duty. I won't be always searching for someone to come and help me. Let them do their own duty. This is my duty. With this attitude we shall go on. With this sort of adjustment, our concentration may become more intense. Our confidence in Krishna will be increased, and our duty will be pure and clear. We should be conscious that hindrances and obstacles are almost sure to attack us, but we must deal with them with humility and forbearance. So this life is not a life of comfort. But in order to develop this kind of humility and forbearance, we must learn to see the Lord's hand in everything. And therefore the Vedas tell us to remember that the glance of the Lord is always upon us. Om tad Vishnu paramam padam sada pashyanti surya. We are asked to see the holy feet of Narayan as we see the sun in the sky. Why the sun? The sun is described as Pradakshaka, the seer, the witness. Apparently we see the sun, but really the sun helps us to see. The holy feet of Vishnu means the lowest part of Vishnu. Deha Dehi Vaibhago Jam Neshvare Vidyate Kachit. His lower part to us is the beginning of realization for us. The beginning of realization to think that God is always seeing us. As the sun helps us to see, Vishnu's holy feet are like the sun. So we should try to always see everything by the rays of the holy feet of Vishnu. From another point of view, his holy feet are like a big eye spread over the sky. He sees everything. Whatever we do, our guardian's vigilant eye is over our heads, like the sun. Before we enter into any action, we must remember this Vedic mantra. The Rig Veda is the first Veda, and this is the most important mantra of the Rig Veda. The Brahmins of the Vedic school are told that whenever they do any service pertaining to religion or varnashram, they must first remember this Rig Veda mantra. Vishnu's feet are over you, and they are looking at you like a guardian's vigilant eye. Always remembering this, do your duty. If you always remember that he is seeing everything you do, you can't do anything wrong. You won't be able to venture to do anything offensive to the Lord as long as you remember that through everything, the searching eye, the all-knowing, omniscient eye of the Lord is always watching over you. This remembrance cannot but purify your heart and understanding and the whole of your mental system and help you to approach divinity in the right way. It is not that you can do anything and everything without his knowing, not that you are the master wire puller of both your own life and of the world, not that you are going to exert your mastery or your influence over the environment in a selfish attempt. Always remember that one big eye is spread over your head, seeing everything like the searching light of a strong X-ray. What even you do not know about yourself, he knows. What is underground in the innermost subconscious region of your heart, he can also see. If you remember this as you move and live, you cannot but be purified. Just as cancer can be removed from the body by a laser ray, the whole disease of material existence will vanish from our hearts by this purifying influence of the divine rays of light from the holy feet of Vishnu. There we are. So, a little long, but worth it, I think. So, excuse me if I went on a little bit, but hearing from Guru Maharaj is always wonderful. And even if it's coming from my mouth, that's at least we can try to be a conduit for what we hear from Guru Maharaj.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Well,
and has the power gone out or something?
no.
No.
The night has come. But sorry about that. Try that. Better. Okay.
Yes.
Apologies. Hare Krishna. Any question from anybody? We just heard everything. Actually, one chapter which should make us continue on our journey without hesitation, knowing all of those factors. And this also in my little list of things. This is probably Devashish's excerpt, Loving Search for the Lost Servant.
You know me so well, man.
And steady wins the race.
Never mind Vishnu knowing everything about me. You also know everything about me.
No. But our march towards the infinite is a long journey, not a journey to be finished within a few hours, a few days, or a few years. And we have to adjust accordingly. So you've heard that whole chapter there. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to the effect of 1 day of Lord Brahma is Chatu Yuga times 100. And so that's 4,320,000 years times 100 is a day of Lord Brahma. And then one gets a proper perspective of what is time. So this lifetime that we have is really a short lifetime. But we've got this opportunity in this life as a human with the connection of our divine guardians, the descending grace from Mahaprabhu. We've got this short lifetime, and we may think it's going to be a long lifetime ahead of us, and what's going to happen? So many fearful things and threats are always there in the world. But whatever moments we have, our whole life is only a moment in the course of the whole day of Lord Brahma, etc. And whatever moments we have within this moment of a lifetime, we should try to use carefully. Hare Krishna. I can give a very short excerpt from Srila Gurudev, because actually when we hear Guru Maharaj, we're hearing Gurudev. When we hear Gurudev, we are hearing Guru Maharaj, because Gurudev is that handcrafted devotee of Guru Maharaj. And so many of the expressions we hear just now in the loving search for the lost servant also, many of the expressions, they are very similar to the expressions that Gurudev gives, because this is where Gurudev is nourished from, and where Gurudev is from where he's sharing to us. Anyhow, Srila Gurudev, very short quote. It's 8 lines or something, from the dignity of the divine servitor. We may feel very enthusiastic if we focus on what is written in the Shastras or what is said by the Vaishnavas. But it may also sometimes make us feel hopeless to hear many things, such as the injunctions, the dangers, and the difficulties we may have to face on our long journey ahead. Therefore, we should use our energy, especially to try to protect the creeper of Bhakti. Otherwise, we are in great danger of losing everything. And so, we've been hearing from this chapter of Srila Guru Maharaj speaking about protecting that very creeper of Bhakti, and we must be very careful to go ahead in our lives the way that Guru Maharaj and Gurudev have given us. And we heard just now Guru Maharaj saying that we shouldn't make any step for our own name and fame or anything like that. Others are there who are there to redress the wrong in others, if there is wrong done by others. We have to progress with humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others. And our guardians are watching us. So they're seeing if we're out, to retaliate, we're out to try to, or they've done wrong, they need to be punished, and this, that, and the other. Or are we going to accept, Krishna's hand is behind all of this, and I am to follow Mahaprabhu's teachings and Gurudev's teachings and Guru Maharaj's teachings, and be humble, tolerant, and give honor to others, and continue. And that is what they've given, and that is what's pleasing to them. Hare Krishna. And another angle of seeing the long journey given by Srila Guru Maharaj in the inner fulfillment, this is Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that we are to search for the Master, the King of the conscious world. We have no engagement in this mundane world except to search for the cause, the prime cause. In different stages of life, there is a gradation of cause up to the land of beauty and love. And we are to withdraw there, back to God, back to home, back to the center. Home, not only consciousness. Consciousness is only on the way. Just as on a long journey, there are so many hostels along the way, Similarly, consciousness is on the way to the land of love and beauty, to the land of Krishna. First, we must cross consciousness. Then we shall find sweetness, anandam, rasam. Anandam is controlling, not consciousness. Consciousness is the basis, but the real hankering of us is for happiness, ecstasy, anandam, rasam, rasa. Beauty is controlling, and that can satisfy our inner hankering, not jnana, knowledge, and not consciousness. Consciousness is not the integer. What to speak of this material energy, even consciousness cannot satisfy our inner hankering. Hare Krishna. Anyway, I won't read longer, but we get so much nourishment from regularly means every day. We should read from Gurudev, from Guru Maharaj, from Srila Prabhupada. We should read from the scripture, not spending all day, but it is all possible by a simple morning program, a simple evening program. And not only possible, it is done. We have the example here in Vila Govinda, not my example. I mean, it's not from me doing it, it's what they've been doing for years. In the morning, 15 or 20 minutes of Chaitanya Charitamrita and 15 or 20 minutes of, at the moment, Srila Guru Maharaj. And then in the evening, 15 or 20 minutes of, here at the moment is Chaitanya Bhagavat and 15 or 20 minutes of Srila Gurudev. So this way, the devotees automatically are getting nourishment from our masters. And when this is our news and not the newspapers and the television and all these other sources of the horrible news that goes on, which always goes on in the world. If this is the form of our news, then we're getting nourishment in our devotional life. So we want to be nourished properly, and the guidance of our masters is not just so we've got something to remember, but it's something to lead our lives by. And so, we've got some questions. Thank you. Induleka Devidasi asked a question. How is this different from feeling like a Christian conception of God is looking down at me and judging, and I should be afraid of him? Or is it similar? Okay, well, Devashis Prabhu, you read that section, and the eye of the Lord is looking down over us. So Induleka's question, I think you can address this happily.
Well, yes, I mean, it is similar. It is a similar idea. But the difference is, Krishna says in the Gita, that I am the master of everything, the cause of everything, the maintainer of everything. Everything comes from me, but I'm friendly to you. And Guru Maharaj is at pains to point this out to us, that although Krishna is everything, and everything is coming from him, he's the cause of everything, the master of everything, the dispenser of good and bad, everything is coming from him. But at the same time, he's sympathetic to us. So, in the Christian idea, they often say, "Oh, he was a God-fearing man," and that's a good qualification. That he fears God, and that fear of punishment of doing anything wrong makes him upright, moral, and so on, and that's all okay. But Guru Maharaj would say, fear of God may be the religion of the masses, but love of God is the religion of the saints. So, yes, in the lower stage, of course, we should know that the Lord observes everything and knows everything. There's no place where we can hide from him, and that therefore there's nothing that we can do that's not known to him. And if we have faith in that, then that will, as Guru Maharaj says in that passage, then there's no question of doing anything wrong. We can't do anything wrong if we really embrace this idea. But sometimes our faith is not so strong. We hear the saying also from the Christians, but it's a good saying. That the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So this is our fallen condition in this material world. Although we may want to be a perfect man or a perfect woman and to proceed, perfectly in devotional service, that may be our desire. But we have so many anarthas and so many misconceptions and bad habits. We all have developed so many bad habits through our life, and it's hard to leave those. We heard from Gurudev that story about the two sadhus walking along the river bank in the freezing cold of the winter, and one of them sees a blanket floating down the river and says to his friend, "Oh, I'm going to swim out and grab that blanket, and then once we dry it off, we can be warm tonight under that blanket." So his friend says, "Okay." He jumps in and he swims across, and when he grabs the blanket, it's not a blanket at all, but it's a bear, and the bear grabs him. Then his friend sees that some kind of struggle going on in the water, and he says, "Prabhu, just leave it, leave the blanket, just come on out, leave it." And his friend, who's being grabbed by the bear, says, "I'm trying to leave it, but it won't leave me." So this is our condition in the material world. We're trying to leave all of the bad things behind us, but they haven't finished with us yet. So sometimes they're holding on to us and won't let us go. But we shouldn't worry for that, actually, because Krishna knows everything. He knows that we're weak, and he knows that we're fallible, and that we're going to make mistakes and do so many faulty things. He already knows that. There's no necessity for us to explain that to him. He knows that because he made us. He made us in that way. But he is so merciful that he's known as Patita Pavan, the friend of the fallen. And we are Patita, we are the fallen. So that we should be happy for that. We should take solace in that and be joyful for that. And we can come before the Lord and say to him, well, this is an English expression, "Here I am, warts and all." That means with all my defects, with all the ugly things that still are within my character, I'm trying to give myself to you. Please accept me and ignore those warts, ignore all the bad things that are there, and purify me. My attempt is sincere. I want to be your servant, but so many bad things in my nature. So please overlook that and cure me of that disease. You're my only shelter. And I am Patita, and you are Patita Pavan. And you must do, that is your job. Srila Gurudev, we heard him say that. Between you and me, he said, he's talking to Krishna, between you and me, I'll never serve you. I'll never worship you. I'm just as fallen as I can be. But that's my job, and I've done my job. Your job is to rescue me. Now do your job. He said something like that. I've done my job. I've done my part. Now you do your part, which is to rescue me, the fallen soul. Please do that, Lord, and be merciful to me. So, yes, we can think, the Lord sees everything, and there's nothing that I can get away with. But we don't need to worry. We don't need to worry about that. If our attempt is sincere, then all those other things, Guru Maharaj says, we think they're so connected with us, but actually they're just mental mushrooms. They have no foundation. They have no roots. They're just floating on the surface. They can be washed away very easily. So, yeah, similar, but not the same.
And by the way, I learned from Devashis Prabhu that it's God-fearing man. And I learned from him this quite a long time ago. I must have heard it from a Scottish person, this expression, maybe, because I always thought it was a God-fearing man, not fearing. So maybe that's with the Scottish accent. Like a seafarer, someone who's seafarer is, goes out to sea. They're a sailor, so they live by the sea. And I always thought it was a God-fearing man, means they live by the Lord. So Devashish put the fear of God into us. I mean, not Devashish. He explained that it's God-fearing, the expression. And I even looked it up, just, is Devashish right? Because we're always thinking, I am right, God-fearing. But I prefer the God-fearing version because the fear of God is something that really we should not be looking at that side. That's our guilty conscience if we do things wrong. But again, we've come to Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. And as Devashish pointed out, they know more about us than we know about ourselves. And this is told to us repeatedly. And so we just need to do our best and not be fearful, but embrace the Lord's affectionate guardianship. And we've seen this affectionate guardianship being transmitted through Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj, whose main preaching, yes, you can say lots of philosophy, lots of technical understanding, the whole science of the spiritual side of the creation, or the spiritual aspect of the creation. But foremost, we can say that their preaching, their distribution, their relationship with the devotees was the loving relationship of the devotees, not the chastising relationship with the devotees, with the devotees and lording it over them and so many things. The opposite, rather turning a blind eye to the faults, but seeing what is the good point. Seeing an ember, just a little ember, a little spark in the fire, and fanning that spark to make the fire light. And Ananda Swarupini, she's there in England, and she said, my pranams to everyone. What should we do if we feel we are of no value to anyone in spite of trying? Well, it's actually a good feeling, in the sense we are on the safe side of humility. Really, if we can feel that really we may try to do something, but I don't feel I have any particular value, then we really know we need grace from above. So when we feel, oh yes, I am important, I do this, I do that, I've done this, I've done that, then that's the opposite of humility, and it's a very dangerous place to be in our consciousness. And we are always told that we must take the opposite standpoint. And if anything has come which is good, it's the grace of the Lord. It is not my cleverness. The Lord gives us everything. He gives us our ability. The ability in each of us has come from the Lord. It's not come from anywhere else. So everything is God-given. And in the devotional side, then everything is given by Guru Vaishnava. And this is how the Lord works. Through his agents, through his representatives coming here. And we know how pleased that Gurudev and Guru Maharaj are when there is genuine humility in a devotee, and how they see false humility. They recognize what is false humility, putting on, the act of being a humble person. And the other thing is, we all have a useful place. We have a place in Krishna's land, and we've become a little bit useless in the sense of, what use are prisoners in the prison house? they're not the positive contributors to the world. But the only use of a prisoner in a prison house would be if the prisoner can help other prisoners, help themselves to be corrected. Correctional institution is a prison house. Help themselves to have the correct mentality because they've found the guidebook on how to be a proper citizen instead of a criminal, and then help others how to get out of the jail. That will be the use, the only use. But really, our use is in the upper world, where everyone has a place in service, and everyone, as we are now doing service to illusion, everyone has a place in service to non-illusion, to reality. But of course, we could take the point of view of Devashis for pointing out how we're doing our service by being most fallen. Now, dear Lord, you do your service. Induleka's dancing. Now you do your service and save us. Hare Krishna. So in this world, we may be not of value to anyone. We may think the only value, though, will be if you have introduced Krishna consciousness, the conception of Krishna consciousness, the Bhagavad Gita, introduced anybody in any way. You may not know whether they accepted the invitation, followed it up, or if in the future they will follow it up. We don't know what happens after we introduce. But if we can introduce Nityan Gauranga, the Yuga Dharma of chanting Hare Krishna, chanting the holy names of the Lord, if we can give some pointers, some directions of proper success in life, then we've actually got a use here. And sorry, but for all of you who are saving the penguins, others who are saving the crocodiles, somebody else who's saving the birds, you know, it's just a futile attempt in this world, missing the main point. The main point is we bring Krishna to the center, then all the living entities will benefit by that, because there won't be all of this rampant exploitation. So as many Vaishnavas as there can be, the more Vaishnavas there are, the more hope there is that the world will be a little more, less exploitation. But it's Kali Yuga, and as our very learned sannyasi, Sripad Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, he said, I've read, practiced so many scriptures. I said, I've never found a place where it actually says that Kali Yuga is going to get better. But we have this chance of the best by the connection with the holy name coming from Mahaprabhu. And so, yes, in Kali Yuga, we have this fortunate age where we've got intact the message and the connection and the name as coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so that way, everything is good. But trying to save any particular part of the environment or this different species and things, it is fighting against the current. The current of Kali Yuga is going to be more degraded, more degraded, more degraded. And it's a good strategy to get an exit policy. That exit policy has been given, and part of that is to share the exit policy with others. That is, with love and affection, to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the greatest mantra, especially in Kali Yuga, the Maha Mantra for Kali Yuga. It's not a cult, it's not something which just come up as a fashion, something like chanting anything, this, or it's a fashion. It's given in the scriptures. It's given by the greatest sadhus and sages. It's given by those who really are qualified in what is spiritual life, and not just doing so many random things which are, cool, hip, whatever it may be. But the serious students, they've come with the conclusion to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra under the shelter of Guru and Gauranga, under the original Guru being Nityananda. So Nityananda and Gauranga. This way our journey may be a long journey. It's not only a long journey, but we know that it's never completed, because even we reach, even those who reach, okay, we say those who reach to Goloka Vrindavan, the journey of life continues. The journey of a living life continues. Always there's something more and more. The journey will go on. Not that we are doing something to then retire and rest and okay, I've reached there, now I'm going to float on a whatever it is, a cloud. I'm just going to float on a cloud and be happy. Hare Krishna. Anyway, lots of beautiful things. The nourishment for our long journey is certainly Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and following their guidance. Chaitanya Saraswat Math of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev gave us that guidance. We should all try to understand what that is and to carry it out, whether we live in a temple or we live in a home, etc. And most of us live at home. And actually an ashram, it is a home, but it's a home with the family of devotees. And so try to make your husbands, your wives, your children, try to make them devotees. At least see that they're devotees and serve them in that mood, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur points out very sweetly in the book Sharanagati, that nothing is separate from Krishna. Therefore, offer the whole family to Krishna, and then you are rendering service as in an ashram. You're rendering service to the Lord with all of your assets, all of your family members and domestic animals, etc. It's listed like this also in the scripture. So it's a long journey, but it is not, oh, I'm going to have a suffering journey, and then one day, 1,000,000 years from now, I'll then float on the sky and I won't have to suffer anymore. Rather, that the destination is wonderful. It's Goloka Vrindavan. It's very active. And the journey is wonderful. It's the journey of bhakti yoga, of selfless giving, activity to help others. To help others and means to help the Vaishnavas, to please the Vaishnavas by giving assistance to others, lending a rope to them as a rope is lent to us to come forwards and come back home. So really doing good for good people. Good things for good people, and doing good things for bad people to make them into good people, and then doing good for the good people. Yes, Lavanya Mayi Devi, we're not limited by clocks, are we? So Lavanya Mayi, they're eager to share something. I know you've come prepared, as you told me. Now I'm always prepared when I come on a Zoom.
I never said that, Maharaj. I said I'm never prepared. I never think about it before I get to the Zoom.
Oh, the difference between an N, never,
exactly.
and ever. Okay.
Well, all I can say is that before we knew about Krishna consciousness and who God was properly, then we were just idling around and not really, we tried to do things in the material world, but we never had the thought that we had a path, eternal path, that we were going to be walking and that we could make progress and do so much work on our internal, our hearts and everything. So now it's very wonderful to think that we to be on that, even in looking at that path and trying to start that path of progressive immortality. It's great. And just a public announcement, because Devashis, we have the program next Monday, so might there be a Zoom or not, just so everyone knows?
I don't think it'll be possible because we'll be that Prabhu's house.
So everyone knows them. most probably will not be a Zoom. There will not be a Zoom next week, next Monday.
Oh.
Because we have a program in South London at 6 o'clock in a devotee's house with you, Maharaj, as the...
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I was going to tell everybody, oh, I'll meet you next week from London. London Zoom. We'll be in London next week, but we'll be in London next week and the week after.
Yes.
So we'll get a chance.
Yeah.
But you decide together, you can do a half-hour Zoom from anybody's house. They won't mind for half an hour. They can be in the Zoom. Anyway, you decide with Devashis Prabhu. I'm here to serve if I can be useful. All right. So, dear devotees, super being with you all, as we mentioned at the beginning. And as I say, today we were very much in Navadip by heart and by Kirtan, Srila Gurudev leading Kirtan. And I put in the chat box, I put the link to that Kirtan that Srileka sent us today. And we were following along in the temple. And we were following along. It's not always easy to follow everything, but very much we were absorbed. And because we have to listen carefully, then it's very good, because we're meant to be hearing and then repeating like this. And so who are we hearing? We're hearing Srila Gurudev and chanting. He knows what he's singing, so he's chanting at some additional lines. And we can catch some of the words, but maybe not all of those words. And by the way, to Crispy, thank you very much for your encouraging words. And he sent us some words of encouragement that he does watch so many of the classes in the recorded version, or maybe in the live version too. And he just says, so I want you to know how eternally grateful I am for these ongoing classes. So we appreciate, and we do know that several do watch the recorded version. So we appreciate the presence of you all. And I also watch recorded versions of programs too. So it is recorded is live, but just a little bit delayed. That's all. All right. So, dear devotees, all good things. Devashis Prabhu, and somehow let everyone know whether next week we'll have a short Zoom or not. But we've got lots of devotees here who are always happy to hear some Hari Katha. So let's see. And I will be in London, well, by the Lord's grace, if the grace gives his Lord, if the Lord gives his grace, we'll be in London next Monday and the Monday after. And so we'll be with the devotees. Please, I'm coming there if I can be useful.
Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bhagya Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Jai Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandali Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. All the world devotees Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
And Shripad Devashis Prabhu Ki Jai, and all the London, back to Vrinda, then West London, East London, all over UK and around the world and the universe. Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Banchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
And very happily seeing all of you, each of you, one by one, obeisances, and we'll meet again soon. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.